it to everyone.
No, let's not. At least 50% of his class has his grade or lower. Is moving towards everything race.
And the police comes and they say, well, we can't do anything.
Of course, all opinions are my own, not my employer's.
Period. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Pop and Politics. You know what it is? It's Wednesday, and the ladies, I'm KJ, and we are back to talk about the latest in trending news and entertainment. So before we begin, let me introduce my co-hosts. We have Xandria, we have Shelly, we have Yana, and our special guest co-host, again, back with us, Dr. G. All right.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, we are so honored to have you again. So thank you so much for coming on. Again, T is out this week. She will be back next week. Definitely, we definitely have a very good feeling for her this week. So, all right.
I'm glad she'll be back.
Yes, she will be back. She's away on vacation. So I'm hoping she is somewhere enjoying herself and getting some sun and relaxation. Yes. All right. So today we are discussing, are conservatives engaging voters or just triggering the left? Messaging is everything. The second topic we will discuss is, speaking of messaging, TPUSA had a Republican conference this weekend, or actually last weekend, and kicked out a conservative porn star, a conservative porn star. Did they deliver the right message by asking her to leave? All right, and then the last topic we're going to discuss is the school scandals that rocked Baltimore City. What is next, or will this be another issue swept underneath the rug? All right, so please comment throughout the show. We would love to get your feedback. We are on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Also, follow us at www.metroconservativemedia.com. That's the website. But for tonight, again, you can comment here on YouTube and also Facebook, and we will respond to your comments throughout the night. All right, so we are going to start again, as we generally do each episode, with our Declare It a Crisis Baltimore. This is a campaign where we raise awareness about the gun violence that is occurring and happening to children within Baltimore City.
Or just violence in general. It doesn't have to be gun.
Yeah, it just doesn't have to be, right. It doesn't have to be just gun violence. It's just homicides, really. So what is occurring to 19 kids and young adults in Baltimore City. So today we again tragically want to share with you the death of Troy Rush, 19 years old, was killed by gun violence. He was actually inside a convenience store on West Pratt Street when a person shot him multiple times just before 7 a.m. This happened, I believe, a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. So if you are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, please hashtag Declare It a Crisis Baltimore. Whenever you are raising awareness about what is going on, we want our leaders in government to do something about it. Not be reactionary, be proactive and get ahead of this. This is an epidemic that is happening, and we want to see it addressed. All right, so ladies, let's set it off. We are going right into our topics. So again, we are starting with the topic about conservatives. So are conservatives engaging voters or just triggering the left? Messaging, how is messaging as far as getting out the message and the conservative message on the right as far as Republicans? How are we doing it? Are we doing a good job? What do you think, Xandria?
So I think we're improved from where we were some years ago. I think when Trump took office, things actually changed. We kind of went in a new direction and built some momentum in some of these areas. But I do think that we could be engaging our voters better. And I think there's a number of different areas where we could focus on. But first off, I mean, there is some trolling, right? We are trolling the left. The left also trolls us. I don't mind any of that. But I do think that the conservative message, like, there's a lot of strategy and tactics that the left uses that I feel like, why aren't we employing? You know, they're always using Hollywood. They know how to go use pop culture to their benefit and to their advantage. And I think we could be doing a better job of that. Another area, just as far as engagement, you know, I don't agree with the conservatives who say, like, hey, let's not focus on areas that aren't winnable. Okay, I think those are areas that have a need. Those are areas that are more important than ever for us to get into. And we're gonna lose there a few times. We're not gonna win the election there tomorrow. You know, but I think those places are really important, and that with a lot of kind of the new candidates I'm seeing, which I really like, and I think it's a really good thing. But focusing on the inner cities and these different groups. And I think the most important thing for conservatives is to engage them about things that they care about and get them involved and in things that improve their communities. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like coming from a place of politics. You know, like you help them in the areas that they want to be, that they care, things that they need in their communities. And then after the fact, when it's a season of politics, you can be like, hey, by the way, like we are a conservative group. You know, we just happen to be a conservative group. We like to inform you about.
So you're saying there should be more community engagement from the conservative side? Yeah, I agree
think that,
with
yeah.
Well, one thing, and I want you can answer this as far as, because the topic came up because conservative political strategist Deontay Johnson, he's also I guess we would say CEO of Black Conservative Federation. He came out this week in a video and he stated that the messaging in the party can get better. One thing he pointed out was welfare. So a lot of times you hear conservatives really go hard against social programs. And in reality, there is a need. I mean, we don't want to get rid of social programs, but is that the message? People, you know, saying, you know, some people do need welfare.
So one of the things that I noticed about conservatives after the last presidential elections is that unfortunately we're becoming split. I think there are too many divisions that are happening, and I think that we are losing the message and the mission that we have as conservatives, and as well being tied into a Republican Party, since we have the two-party system. We're kind of being too disjointed right now. So we have people who are very socially conservative, then we have people who are fiscally conservative but not socially conservative. Then we have like little infighting here and there, and so that is not helpful for us as a party and for us as a country in general. And I agree that we should be going to places where it's considered that we can't win, but you never know. So we should try, and also we have to have a clear message what we stand for. It has to be a big tent that we can invite people to in order to win, because the left, like I've been saying, they're very unified. They're all about being united. They will invite anyone who they can use, basically, in their. But you know, because I guess we're more authentic. We don't want to use anybody. We just, you know, we accept people's differences. But then at the same time, what is our mission? What is our goal? Is for America to be stronger, for patriotism to be strong in this country, and promotion of free market economy. In terms of welfare, yeah, we cannot be too, I guess, harsh when talking about these kind of issues, because some people may not really understand where we're coming from with that. So because conservatives are always talking against socialism, and it gets confusing to some people why we're always against it. So it's better to explain, like, the person named Deontay, is it Deontay?
Yes.
Yeah, he explained that that in some cases it might be needed, so we can't be, but then it cannot be something that we can rely on
Right.
as entire communities.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you think, Shelly, as far as the messaging? We do have certain stances. We have issues that are the core of the conservative movement, of the Republican movement. But is the messaging surrounding those issues falling on blind? Was it blank ears?
Deaf
or
ears.
Deaf ears.
So I actually think the conservatism as a whole, I think we're in this stage where we are trying to really define or maybe redefine ourselves what it means to be a conservative. And I think one way we need to do that is to go back to the basics, the free market economy or the free market principles, the limited government. And truth be told, conservatives or Republicans have not done a good job of following those principles ourselves, and that is our side. So I say that against our side. I'm on the side, and I say that I'm not thrilled with the spending, the taxation, and the unlimited government that our side has been proposing and putting forth. That's one thing. I think we also need to make a distinction between the national party, particularly the Republican Party, of course, because we do have the two-party system. We need to make the distinction between the national and the state or the local parties, the local central committees, because on a local level, we are closer to the people that we're trying to reach. When it gets to the national level, what is this called? 6 degrees of separation, or.
That's right.
So then the people who we are trying to influence will oftentimes equate any conservative with what they see in popular media. And that's not, so we need to distinguish that. And I think, again, on a local level, we do need to be involved with the community, making an impact right there with people who come into our sphere. So I think those are some of the things that we're going through, kind of these growing pains, if you will. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to behave like winners. That's what. So right now, it feels to me that the Republican Party and conservatives they behave as if we lost, or or that someone, basically did injustice. Which I mean, that's fine. You can believe that, but still, you have to present yourself. It's all about the energy that you have about yourself, and not being constantly against something, but what are we for?
Now, what do you say, Dr. G? As
You
far
know,
as you're a Baltimorean,
Yes.
longtime Baltimorean, is the messaging from the Republican Party effective? What do you think about that as far as penetrating Baltimore and urban centers across the country?
Well, first of all, I agree 100% with what Shelly was saying about the fact that our strategy around messaging and what we actually present or the results of our messaging is mixed. And it keeps everyone confused, even within the party. The first thing about messaging is that it is part of your strategic framework for whatever organization you belong to. We had a president that had strong messaging skills, and he marketed and promoted things on a national level. So when you have state senators or state representatives trying to delegate or to send out that same message, it becomes broken somewhat because the concerns of the people in your local community may not be about jobs. It may be about crime. It may be about education or things that we're really concerned about to really have our rights and to express our rights and to have and demonstrate our civil rights. So with all of that going on, messaging is usually the result of your messaging is usually the intent. It shows you the intent of the messaging. So when you have messages that are about education, but it's done with a political spin, it's because messages are supposed to be done to appeal to people. So who are they appealing to? That is what most people are sensing, that you don't really care about my education or my children's education. You don't really care about the crime in Baltimore City. However, we do need to get our message clear. And I believe 100%, go back to the basics. We wouldn't have this political pull or the confusion that everyone is experiencing right now. We do need to go back to the basics.
That's a
And I
good
just-
point
Okay.
right there, as far as an appeal, an intention.
Appeal. It has to be intentional.
Because a lot of times, and one issue I have with the conservative movement is, especially when messaging to urban centers and areas of low income, they don't have a connection.
That's right.
And if you don't have a connection, how can you deliver the message of prosperity, deliver the message of
Even hope.
Hope,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And you know, for instance, and I don't know if you all know this. I'm a native Baltimorean.
I am.
Grew up in a single mother home, oldest of four. My mother, she struggled with addiction. She struggled with just being a single mother. And so I understand what people are going through. I mean, this story is like rampant in Baltimore City,
It is.
you know.
It is.
So, but I understand that, you know, Republican ideals and Republican issues are we have solutions for this
Right.
type of stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so we need people to relay that message from what you have gone through. You know, I'm a Republican and I grew up poor.
Right.
You know?
I want to.
So,
Sorry, I have
yeah.
like a few like quick. I just want to spitfire because I have ideas in a lot of different areas. But to add what you said, so I was talking to one of my friends who he is a conservative now. He grew up not being conservative. He was liberal. His mother is liberal and now starting to lean right. And they were on welfare for years. And him and I were talking about it because you're right. Welfare is meant to be a crutch for people.
Right.
It's a temporary solution to help them get on their feet. And then they're supposed to go above and beyond and succeed on their own. That is the purpose of welfare.
Right.
The reason why conservatives don't like welfare, and me coming from an immigrant mother who, you know, came from a Latin American country, like I know many, and not all, but there are, for instance, illegal immigrants, and not all, again, but there are people that abuse the welfare system, 100%. And so being raised by my mom, it angered her like crazy. Like she hated that growing up. Because she's like, I can't believe they're abusing it. I became a citizen in this country to work hard for what I want. So, you know, people don't always understand, like you mentioned, Yana, people don't understand the conservative reasoning behind things sometimes. And I feel like we also need, a lot of the time, I feel like the parties try to polarize it, like, for lack of a better word, it's black versus white. But I feel like we need to be the party of, hey, there's also gray area. Like a lot of these issues have gray area.
That's
And that's what I mean by having a strong mission. Like, what are we trying to achieve? Because I think, well, the left, right, they're trying to achieve socialism. I mean, that's what it seems like. I mean,
No, that's what they're trying to do.
and they're not really saying, I mean, they're pretty much saying it openly at this point.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to achieve is prosperity and self-reliance.
Right.
That's
So those are the messages that if we are to engage in those communities, it's like, sure, we understand you're going through trouble and, you know, it's been generations, but do you want to continue living like
Right.
this? What are some of the solutions? And also, it's not easy to look within yourself and to say, what is it that I'm doing wrong? And so those are the things, you know, we can present to the community like, well, we're not trying to bash you for anything, but we're just trying to explain what can be more beneficial to the community
That's right.
than the status
And
quo.
But you know what? I'm going to tell you, the whole key to it all is the leadership. It's really what are their positions, what are the messages they're sending, and like you said, it's broken. You're speaking from a chair in the Senate in Maryland, and you're saying let's make America great again. But what about making Baltimore City or any of Howard County or any of those counties great again? And you coming down to the grassroots to actually be there with these people.
That's
We'll
the
see
most
them
important
all
thing.
at the end of election season.
Yeah.
Right.
But we don't see them now.
Right.
And that would send a clear message because your words match your actions.
That's right.
Yeah,
We'll
and-
end on that because we do have to move on.
Yes.
But yes, you're
much
totally
more
right.
to say.
Yeah. So if you have a comment, please comment on our Facebook or our YouTube page and subscribe. We do this every Wednesday. So when you subscribe, you get notifications when we are going live and when we post content and videos. All right. Do we have any comments to quickly respond to? All right,
in
go
order
ahead.
to get the message to the people, especially in the African American community, which I'm a part of, first the first thing you got to get through are the boundaries of the church. That came from Chad Frazier.
Okay, the church. So
Boundaries. of the
Well,
church. That was
it's interesting that he
Yeah,
said
that's
that because I was looking at a Malcolm X, some documentaries about Malcolm X last night, and Malcolm X made a comment about the church only being created to employ pastors, and that basically at that time when Malcolm X was speaking, the focus from the Nation of Islam was creating businesses, because businesses mean jobs for the people in the community. So it's interesting that Chad Frazier, I think it was,
Yes.
mentioned about the church. And
right.
so a part of the Republican or conservative platform under the economic mission or goal is, again, creating jobs, creating stability, economic stability. And I think that is one message that we definitely need to drive home. I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. I mean, we had plastic spoons sometimes. So, plastic spoons and paper plates, right? But the point is that we need to drive home that message. We can present to and talk to people that we meet and say, hey, you know what? Maybe you are on social programs right now. Okay, but there's a way out, and you don't want to stay there. And then tell them why, and we can share our experiences, my families. So that's okay. But I think I think those messages, we need to go back to the basics and be clear. And not only be clear, but be unapologetic about that.
That's right.
That's right.
I
All
agree.
right. And we do have to move on. Yeah, we have to move on.
say.
But we definitely want to revisit that because we all have strong feelings about the church. And
The left really took over a lot of the church.
Right, and that's what I was going to say. Yeah, I was going to say that. Well, we definitely want to revisit that because I totally disagree with that. A lot the church has actually helped a lot of people. Definitely want to see.
But they're the gatekeepers,
Right.
guys.
Yeah.
You can't come and get elected in my city without
Can I add
Yes.
one quick point?
Quickly.
Okay, so
Good
so
discussion
one
coming
area-
up.
I know one area I do think that conservatives need to engage more is social issues, because that's stereotypically something that people, the left thinks the right is against all social issues. We don't care, this and that. And the opposite is very true. But I don't think that they see it because we don't boast and stuff when we
Yeah,
get
that's
involved
not
in
right.
things.
Right.
We're not the bragging
Right.
group.
Right.
We don't need the attention. But I do think that it's important that we start to, I know, I think it is important that we take more of a position in that
Right.
Exactly.
area and
Expand
increase
on
that
it.
engagement. Yeah.
And that's good messaging.
A future
Yeah.
show, a future topic.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely a future topic. All right, so we are moving right along. Again, continue with the comments. We will, again, check on them throughout the show. And even if we don't get you this show, we may revisit it from a previous show, on the future show. So, all right, so next we are on to our pop-off. So this is a segment where each co-host pops off or gives a perspective on a question that I asked them. They do not know the question, and so they're just going to pop off and give their opinion. All right, so my first one today is, George Will contends in his new book, The Conservative Sensibility, that conservatism is inherently anti-populist. The current political party is populist, and whatever populism is, conservatism isn't. Will also said a constitution is inherently counter-majoritarian. Constitutions are ways of putting bridles on ourselves and saying we're going to voluntarily restrain our freedom of action because majority rule is not our fundamental value. The protection of liberty is, and majorities can threaten liberty. Shelly E., do you agree or disagree with this contention and why?
First of all, I want to understand what he's saying. And what I understand him to be saying is that our Constitution is irrelevant or useless. And we need to have a majority, a straight democracy. Is that what he's saying? That's what it sounds
He's saying the Constitution is very valuable. However, it's set up to restrain our freedom from majorities.
Oh yeah, okay. Well,
So we're
absolutely,
led
I
by-
disagree with him.
Okay, go ahead.
Our Constitution, number one,
It's not. It's supposed to set up where it stops from majority rule.
Okay, right.
Which is
Right,
electoral
because guess
system.
what? The majority can absolutely be wrong, and they can also be deadly. Okay, so we do not want a straight democracy, a majority rule, because 51% could mean something that's drastic for our country. So we don't want that. Number two, we are a constitutional republic, and I think Republicans, we need to drive. That's a message we need to drive home too. We are not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. We, the voters, the people, we choose our representatives to make choices and vote on our behalf. The power lies with us. So, Mr. Will, yes, you are absolutely wrong, because I don't want to give away my right to just because a majority says yay or nay, opposite of what I would tend to do or say. No, I don't want to give that right. We are a constitutional republic, and this is why I think one of the reasons that the people that we send to D.C. and Annapolis and even Baltimore City, they don't have that same idea. They think that they get to choose for us. That's not the case. And as soon as we, Baltimoreans, Marylanders, and Americans, take back the power that we have, then we will be on a better plane.
Yes.
All right.
I'm sick of these people, these elitists, telling me and whomever that they have and they know better what's best for me and our families.
That's
and when
right.
I'm sick of it. I'm sick of their arrogance. I'm sick of their elitism. They are destroying our country. They want to control us. They want to control not only what we do, but damn it, they want to control what we think.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Shelly.
All right.
Well
Moving
said.
right along. Yes. Well said.
The energy coming from this
I'm
seat
sorry.
right here.
Yeah.
I love it. I feel it over here.
Thank you, Shelly. Very well said.
All right. Next. There recently have been calls by some on the right to install cameras in classrooms as a method of oversight, stemming from a concern that teachers are indoctrinating children. While considering this specific prescription's safety, legality, and efficacy, do you support this idea and why? Yana.
So cameras in classrooms.
Right.
You know, I have to say I do support this idea. So who came up with that?
Well, it's the right. I mean, a lot of conservatives are asking for that due to this CRT and things going on.
Yeah, I do agree with it. And growing up, like where I grew up, we always had parents coming in. Like parents were always welcome.
That's
like
right.
any day of the week, parents could just come in and sit throughout the entire day.
Even up to high school?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I mean, these are your children, you know, so you have a right to be there and to see how they're being taught. And so why not have the cameras in there? I mean, right now they're on Zoom anyway. Yeah, they've been on Zoom for like almost a year. So yeah, totally. I think it's also puts and teachers, it will make them better prepared. It's not just for CRT and whatever ridiculousness that they're bringing in, but also how well they're teaching. I mean, like we have 41% of students in Baltimore with 1.0 or below 1.0 GPA. I mean, I want to see what's going on in that for that to happen.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I do agree. So,
I do too.
It's not an invasion of privacy.
No.
It's a public.
Yeah, it's a public.
Yeah.
You would pay for these schools. So.
all right. All right. Moving right along. So remember I said we may revisit something that we spoke about last week on a prior show. So this is one. Remember last week we had the scenario where a man and a woman have consensual intercourse. The woman gets pregnant and the man says he doesn't want the child. However, I want to put a twist on this. In this scenario, abortion is not legal and not an option for the woman or the man. Should both the man and woman be legally responsible for the child or just the woman, and why? Xandria.
Okay, wait. So who wanted the kid? Sorry.
The woman wants it,
the
the
kid?
guy does not. It was a one-night stand.
Okay, the guy doesn't want
The
it.
guy doesn't want it.
But they can't do
But they
abortion.
cannot have abortion.
Okay, well, in that case, no. I don't think if the guy doesn't want that child and the woman does, I feel like the woman should take responsibility
take
for that child. Yeah, and he shouldn't. I think I would hope that they would create ways that if he does eventually want to come back into life, right? It is important for the kid to have both parents, obviously. But if the guy, for whatever reason, is not going to be that father figure anyways, then why do you want him in that child's life?
For
you know?
he
I
should
don't
bear
think he
no
should have
financial
responsibility.
responsibility.
I don't think so, because he did not want the child.
He didn't want the child.
You know.
They should have thought about that when
Yeah,
they
they
making
should have.
consent.
Right. All these things are things that they have to agree upon in advance.
I'm gonna stay out. It's her question of staying out.
Okay,
Yeah, but look, I think both parties need to be responsible.
Right.
And
Morally,
yeah,
They are
morally
anyway.
responsible. And ideally, you want two parents in a household because
Right.
that is for the benefit of the child. But
But if the child comes, then it's
And
Yeah.
one
it would,
parent.
It would keep
Right.
the women from, being so loose with
That's right.
themselves,
Yeah, you
know,
get pregnant,
like,
you gotta
yes,
deal with it.
Thank you.
even though it's
No,
too
not
too
that.
It is.
No, that's not what she's saying. That's not what she's saying. She's saying over time, it would make women think at least twice about who they mate with.
That's right. If he's not husband material now, or
Because
baby
they would probably
daddy
be a little more
father
circumspect.
So you agree with this too?
Well, if he's
Shouldn't
not
be
daddy
financial responsibility of the
I
guy.
put it this way: the
But I
break-
can't. We got to keep going. I'm sorry.
just the breakdown of responsibility started way before the
Right,
baby.
right. All right.
I have spoken.
Yes.
My
Yeah,
baby. On that topic.
I'm gonna
Sorry.
have my own troubles.
All right. Last one. The Biden administration has invited United Nations experts on racism and human rights to visit the U.S. in an effort to address domestic racial injustice, equality, and potential issues of systemic racism. Dr. Butler, do you support this idea and feel this is needed for the United Nations to come in and tell the U.S. Or give them advice on human rights?
The United Nations are representatives from many countries, and they unify to work with many entities about economics and science and everything for all worlds, or to make, quote, world peace. However, in most countries, racism is not managed or displayed like it is in the U.S. Most of them will have little or no knowledge about it. And if you really want to know, I mean, the thing is, because they're having this summit, to me, they're making it an issue. You get it? In other words, things are the way they are. Everybody I know is not racist. And everybody that I do know, there are things that we don't know what displays racism to another. That's true. This is something that we could work out if we would just communicate with each other. Being authentic, as I heard over here, being factual, as you're saying, Shelly. We need to really get the word out and don't hold back. That's going to be the key. We need to communicate in our own countries and our own country. But most of the things that we're dealing with is about the state of Maryland. And we need to focus on that. I don't care what they do. It's going to be a long time before it trickles down to my neighbor.
That's true. All right.
Okay.
All right. So that ends the pop-off. And we are, again, please comment, like, and subscribe to our YouTube and Facebook channel. That way you are notified when we upload videos and also when we put out content. Again, please enter the conversation and comments. We will respond to your comments throughout the evening. And as you can see, even if we don't get your comment tonight, we may address it next week. All right, so we are moving right along to our next topic, which is TPUSA. So TPUSA is a conservative organization. They generally focus on college students and younger kids. They had a big convention this weekend, past weekend.
Youth summit.
Yes, it was a youth summit, yes, where they basically invited people, and it was focused on 14 to 16 year minors to talk about conservative ideals and issues. Well, this weekend, there was a conservative porn star, actually. And again, please forgive me.
Brandi Love.
Brandi Love. Okay, and she attended the event. She had bought a ticket and everything. And apparently, when the organizers of the convention found out she was there, they disinvited her. So, I want to read to you just quickly the statement from TPUSA spokesman Basically, he advised, as a matter of policy, TPUSA does not allow adult entertainers, influencers, or brands to participate in its events designed for minors. This was not a decision intended to be unkind to anyone, but in the interest of the student attendees in attendance and their thousands of concerned parents, they asked Ms. Love to leave. So this kind of goes along with the messaging.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you feel? Should she have been allowed to stay?
Yes. So yes, I absolutely think Turning Point TPUSA was wrong. Unlike people I've heard, and I agree with what they're saying, I don't base it on them being wrong based on the idea of they're not being inclusive. I base it on the fact that it was a business transaction. She paid for her ticket.
She had a VIP.
She had a VIP ticket. She paid for her ticket legally, legitimately. There was no, quid pro quo, undercover, nothing.
They gave her her money back.
They gave her money back. But she bought a ticket. She did not buy a ticket under false premises that she was representing herself as someone else. She was not even on the speaking panel or the presenters. So she didn't misrepresent anything. She bought a ticket for the VIP section. That's number one. Number two, if Turning Point or TPUSA was so concerned about these young people recognizing Ms. Love, well, they already recognized her. So, they're a little bit too late to the game, okay?
Yes.
Because the young people are already they must have known her from somewhere. I didn't know about.
Not necessarily the young people. They said the parents were.
But my point is the parents
didn't want to know
Somebody
that
knew.
Right. So they already knew about her, and so yes, this lady, these young people are going to be fascinated to some degree because she's a star in her own right, whatever that right may be, whether she's lying down or whether she's standing up. Okay, she's a star.
or on her knees.
Or on her knees, right? So so she's taking some knees, but they were wrong. Number three, I guess she shares conservative values. So are we going to now have this litmus test, conservatives, that we squawk against when the left does it to our nominees for certain positions? Now we're doing the same thing at a local summit? Are you serious? Are we still going to shelter our children so much and put them in bubble wrap? Yes, there are age-appropriate things. Children need to know some things at certain times. We would all agree on that. But this was a summit. This woman purchased a ticket. I don't know how it came about that she was whoever she was at this summit, but she did not go to the summit to act to promote a porn.
Yeah.
That's right.
She was going because of the conservative values.
Like, I think
So
she
let
was
me
wearing
ask
regular
Two,
clothes. right?
we can have two
She was just
different
dressed
things.
normal.
Two opposite ideas can be at the same time, even for conservatives.
So let me ask you, Yana, we have this, we just talked about messaging. We have a youth summit, 14 years old kids there. They have a porn star here. Whether you say she's promoting it or not, she's a porn star. We do know about after this is happening now. We're talking about porn at a 14. Is this okay?
So
Is this
it's-
proper
it's
messaging for a
it's
conservative?
Confusing. It's definitely a difficult, nuanced topic for me because, well, first of all, I looked up Turning Point USA and their mission, and it says the organization's mission is to identify, educate, train, and organize students to promote the principles of fiscal responsibility, free markets, and limited government. So nothing there says that they are a Christian organization, that they're religious, that there are that they're socially conservative, that they promote. I mean, it doesn't say in their mission. First of all, also, Brandi.
But let me ask you this, because this is so. If you are focusing on children,
I'm getting that.
okay.
So, Brandi Love also writes for the Federalist.
Yes.
So
Yes.
she is not just a adult entertainer. She does some other things, politically. However, so this is where I have to agree that it was not right for them to expel her from the event after she already paid. She came in. However, I think it was also bad taste on her side to show up there.
Why? She bought a ticket.
Because
You can buy
there's-
tickets. You
She
can buy
bought a
tickets to
ticket.
a concert.
Why?
They
If
ask
I
you to
show,
leave, you have to
if I
leave.
buy a ticket to whatever concert
Buy a
X,
taste.
if I buy a ticket and because of my profession, I'm going to be asked to
Doesn't
leave.
matter.
She
Yeah,
was
why?
dressed normal though. Like
I don't
nobody.
care. If I
Wait,
want
wait.
you, if it's my event, let's say if I had a party.
Okay.
Well, yeah, you
And
have
then-
the right.
You
to
have
reject
private
If I
anybody.
have a party,
But then don't
and
sell
I
your
invite-
tickets. Don't
let
put
me-
your tickets
no,
out
no,
for
no,
public-
let me tell you.
for public
If I
purchase.
have a party,
Don't put your tickets out for public
I can do
purchase.
that. I can do have you been to events? and
Don't
been-
put your tickets out for public
Have
purchase.
you been to
Look,
an
they
event
have
and
the
been
right.
removed?
No,
I'm
I have not.
surprised.
No, I have not.
If you
No, I have
an
not.
event,
No, I have not.
if you have an event and whether you purchase a ticket or not, as long as I give you your money back, I can have you removed.
On what grounds
they
was she
have the
removed?
right. Wait,
No,
they
it
have,
doesn't matter.
They have the right to remove her, but should they have? I
Right.
don't think they should
Okay,
have. I don't
right.
think it helps.
Okay, but
That's what I'm saying.
They
On what
have the right.
grounds?
Yes, they
May,
have the
may
right.
I get in
I'm
here?
sorry. Go ahead. You
May
haven't
I
had
get in here?
a chance to talk. Go ahead.
Just for a moment.
I'm
Go ahead,
sorry.
Tim.
I was just gonna say her stage name is Brandi Love. That's not her legal name.
That's
Right.
right.
She used the name Brandi Love on her badge, so technically it is promotion.
She's her own brand.
Okay,
Yeah.
exactly.
Free market.
And
That's right.
That's right, she
I
is.
can look at it as okay. She went to an event that is catered to minors. As to promote her brand.
course
It
she
can
did.
be seen that way.
But those
I
minors
can
must
even-
have already known
They
who
have-
she was.
I said that's what the
I
parents
did
are
say
really
that I
scared
don't
of.
think it was
They don't want to
right.
know why their kids
Already knew
recognize
her.
her.
Exactly.
It
They
doesn't
recognized her
matter.
already.
But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
My real question is, how did so many parents know who she was?
That's-
They
Yeah.
can know about it.
Yeah,
they
they
want to
knew.
know. They can know.
Here's the real
When
deal,
you go,
guys.
I'm sorry, when you go to a conference or whatever, whomever's conference, you can wear, if you have a business, you might
I
wear your
have
own
Dr.
business.
G
Give business
on my
you
badge.
give business cards out. That's
Okay.
promoting yourself at someone else's event.
Now, one thing I will say, this lady has done some work
Yeah.
work for conservatives.
Okay.
And when she buys a ticket, she's buying a ticket as a citizen. You understand? If it's open to citizens
Exactly.
to
She
attend,
had a VIP ticket. That
Right.
means she's
And-
contributed.
she paid good money for that ticket.
Right.
But I think Miss Brandi Love, in spite of it all, is still a champion because she even made T-shirts
Shirts
to
out of
market
it.
this whole
And not only
incident.
that, had
Okay?
they not had someone not complained, they would not have expelled her. They only did it because of the publicity that TPS, whatever, USA,
TPUSA.
thought that they were going to receive. Because I bet you dimes to donuts, they knew who she was when she paid thousands
They
of
knew it
dollars for their
early.
VIP ticket.
Exactly.
So,
but the one thing I will say, excuse me,
Sorry.
the one thing I will say is that parents have the right
Yes.
to be concerned about who's modeling in front of their children. However, this was an event and she wasn't even on the agenda.
Exactly.
Okay,
She's
she was a
just
She was just a
participant.
participant.
She's just an
Okay,
attendee.
so
in a
they
crowd
made,
of
but it was
people.
plenty of voices, guys,
Right.
that it
All I
actually
wanna
scared
say,
the owners.
I just want to say that we all have to understand, maybe this is going to sound really bad, there is a place for everybody.
That's right.
And
She wasn't there. She
I
was
mean,
But
herself.
this kind of talk, this is
My
why
thing-
we're in the situation we are in
That-
right now. Because nobody wants to take a stand for anything. And this is why you guys and the rest of the people out here, we're in the situation we are right now, where you have these trans activists, you have these LGBTQ in front of our children,
Yes.
putting this stuff out here because you allow stuff like this.
Allow her to
You
show up.
allow
Allow
stuff
her to
like-
show up
She
as
was
a
asked to
citizen.
leave and she
No,
was
no,
and
no,
they
no.
rightfully did
Allow
it.
her to show up as a
she
citizen
was
and looking
not-
like she wasn't there in a porn
It's
store.
it's about what would happen afterwards, and she.
What would happen afterwards? Like what?
Yes, we know she was there.
So what?
But who cares?
She was there. She was dressed normally like any of us
It
would
is
be.
the
Wait,
messaging,
it's-
just how we
So
talked about.
would we
She
not
was
allow?
promoting herself.
Would Turning Point USA not allow a Democrat to
But the
join their convention
parents-
because
Yes.
they're
The
against?
can be
Parents wanted her removed because
that's
she
why they did.
is an influence in front
They
of
were
her
already
children.
influenced because they knew about her.
But no, it wasn't the
parents
children that
didn't
did
talk
all
about
of
But
this.
it
Porn
said
to the
it
kids.
said Christians specifically
The
were the ones that were
adults.
upset, and this is where it goes back to messaging for me about
Okay.
religion because I'm not religious. I don't like. I personally don't like. Okay, I like that the Conservative Party promotes freedom of religion.
Yes.
I like that. I don't like when they promote specific values of, oh, we are, I don't care if they say bless you, any of that stuff. I don't care about any of that. But when everything is Christian, 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 or Catholic, 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 or whatever, that bothers me. I think that is wrong in the conservative messaging.
Well, that's your business.
So, no, I know, but I'm just saying, so like,
that's your business.
So
if
you
you don't
have a sect,
let me just say, if
of
you don't
conservatives,
believe,
yeah.
if you personally do not believe in Christian values,
Right.
it's fine. But
Right,
if I
so I'm saying-
believe
But
in
there are
Christian
moral values that we stand
thank
on.
you.
Right.
And
We
if
all
I
agree
believe,
on
if
moral
I have a
values.
set of Christian values that I believe in and that are the guiding principle of my life, and I thought it was the guiding, not Christian, but just moral values are the
Moral
guiding
values.
principle of conservatives.
So then
So
how
then
does
again,
this is
anyone?
how we get where we
But-
are
So
now.
then how
Wait,
does
wait.
anyone who has, let's say, changed his or her life, how does anyone come into the conservative tent or TPUSA because of what they did or
She
used
come
to
in
do?
as her real name.
She should have come in as her real name.
She
I
came
agree
in
with
as
that.
Brandi
I
Love,
agree
the
with that.
porn
But
star.
wait,
Youth summit, you guys.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
But
If she wanted to
But
come to a
it's-
regular, she
nobody
could
would
have.
know. Nobody would have known who
All
she
right,
was.
let's take
would
it down.
know.
Let's
They
take it
would
down.
have
So we
known.
can hear
There.
it.
They
You
would
know?
This is some
because
juicy
it's just
stuff
it's
here.
annoying to me because everybody wants to be this so open and I get that. But you have to draw the line somewhere because this is why we are at the place we are
I think
now.
we do need lines. I think we do need lines, but I don't think this is one.
And that's
Yeah, I
why,
don't think-
but because
but that's
of
what
moral
most people used to
lines,
say.
because of moral lines, the families, the parents
The,
stood
yeah,
up.
the parents stood up. You're
Okay?
right. The parents had that right to do that.
They had the
I
right.
don't necessarily think
However-
that TPUSA should have
however,
acquiesced to throw
let
her
me tell
out.
you
They're
something.
going to have a conversation with their kids.
Her
But
Yes.
anyways, maybe this was the opportunity for them to do so.
Maybe.
But all I'm saying is early on, when somebody, even when they registered her, that's done by a secretary,
Exactly.
an administrator, that
Exactly.
it just
That's what
went
I
right
said.
on through.
I think
All they
they
did was look at the
embarrassed
bottom
her.
line.
I think they
Okay?
embarrassed her.
And so, but what I'm saying is with that
She
many
wasn't
voices,
embarrassed. She was
Well,
glad
she
she
did
didn't
make
use
that.
her real name.
with that many voices coming from the parents, somebody had to make a decision. Okay?
So they got the pressure.
They have the right.
All right, we
They
have
the
a-
right. I
we
just
have
don't know
a,
how benefited
Now,
it.
honestly, I wouldn't want her.
I don't think it really benefited.
We didn't
Training
even
Porn
know whether
USA
she was
that much
still
in the end.
practicing. We
She
don't know that
is.
through.
She is that old.
All right. Then I don't want her in front of my
She
child
is
either.
definitely
Okay?
practicing.
She's still
But guys,
practicing.
if she
She's making
wore
money.
normal clothes,
Yeah,
like,
she
she was
did.
just an anybody. Like she
Yeah.
wasn't anybody at
I
this
saw the
convention.
pictures. She took pictures in
So
front of me.
even if she
We have a-
registered
we have
at her
a
name, yeah.
Do we have any comments?
That was hot.
We do have a comment.
Since
Turn
when-
up the air, please.
So
It's a
since
little
when
hot.
do, Tatiana wrote, since when do conservative values include porn, sex, drugs, and promiscuity? So,
They don't.
They're not
promiscuity.
conservative values, but that's what she does on
They're
in her, for her
saying, though,
business.
But realistically, there are conservatives that do that stuff too. Like, let's not freaking pretend that it doesn't happen.
Exactly.
But
There are
that's why we
conservatives
get
that,
mixed
you know,
messages.
yeah.
Because you
So-
still have adultery and people getting caught with sex scandals and all of that.
Right.
And they're conservatives as
And
well
guess what?
as.
Conservatives get pregnant
Yeah.
out of wedlock too.
We
Thank
do
you.
know that, but we're not promoting it, and that's why they
we
say
do.
churches are hypocritical.
And they are to
because-
some
yeah,
degree.
because you have
They
these
are a
churches
lot,
out
to
here
me.
that put these people out on the in front of everybody, and they're single and they're
Well, they're
Give them
freaking
a platform.
prostitutes.
Right, we're getting
Right.
off of
Makes
our
it
producers.
wrong.
Our producers.
She just said it.
give them a platform.
We give them platforms where they can perform. And I don't want that in front of my child or anybody
get it.
else's
But
child.
she didn't
Our
have a
producer
platform
is going.
there.
Our producer's going to punish us tonight.
All right.
All right.
Oh, somebody. Okay, never mind. The comment disappeared.
Oh, we have to
So
go.
we'll back.
So we have to go. I'm
This is the end of our
sorry.
show?
No, it's not the end of the show.
Oh, it's
We
Next
are-
topic.
We are moving right along. I'm sweating. I'm
Please make a
soaking
note to
wet.
bring that one back.
Yes.
It could take an
yeah.
hour.
Godly. All right. So we're moving along.
Wow.
Again, please continue to comment, subscribe, and like and share this video. As you can see, we are passionate, and there's differences within the conservative movement.
Yes.
So,
Mixed messages.
right, well, yeah, we're authentic. We all are individuals.
We're America.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
We
We're
are
inclusive of
pro-American.
different values,
And you know-
as long as we're pro-American.
Right.
Exactly.
And we
Be
get up after
mindful,
here,
be
and we
mindful.
still cool. You know what I feel.
You're just gonna lecture us after this.
No. Yeah. So, and again, I don't have problems
No, I know.
with porn. You know, not for my kids though, but you know, I don't know. But anyway,
Enough of that.
yeah.
Enough.
Sorry.
Take a deep breath.
Okay. All right. So we're moving along to the scandals in Baltimore City schools. So Project Baltimore has released over the last couple of months just different investigations within Baltimore City Public Schools. First, they came out with 41%, I believe, of
Yes.
school children had a 1.0 GPA. We all know about all of the issues at Augusta Fells, where the child was being passed along each year, and
passed
he only
three
passed
classes.
3 classes. Then this week, they came out with saying about the SAT scores. Apparently, nearly half, was it nearly half of
Baltimore City is at the bottom of the list
Yeah.
as far as the passing scores
Right.
for SAT.
Yeah, standardized test. They're not even 900 at the 900 level
Right.
for SATs. So it's abysmal, and it's very sad. So what we want to talk about today is basically we know what's going on. What's next? Will this be swept under the rug by our elected officials? Today, it was just posted by, I think it was WBAL, that Brandon Scott, the mayor, is about to appoint 3 new.
We talked about that a couple weeks ago.
Yep,
on the
3
show.
new school
School
board.
board superintendents.
He has the power to appoint these people, and then they in turn appoint the CEO, which is still in power. Dr. Sanderly still has a job. She is the highest paid
Almost 300,000.
Yes.
elected official or appointed official in
Appointed,
Baltimore City. The highest paid, and we have nearly half of students failing. So what are your thoughts, Dr. Butler?
Well, the real problem is the fact that our students are hurting.
Exactly.
The parents are hurting. And I think that the real caveat to it all is, will it be swept under the rug? Will it be gone away? The things that are happening in Baltimore with our educational system are happening around the nation. There are many schools, Baltimore's not the only ones, that are producing deficient students. If you know anything about the Department of Education and our university systems, the only purpose they serve is to prepare our youth for the job market, okay? And so when you have students that are coming out deficient, even in junior high to high school, their marks are even below a D. That's how serious this is. Will it be forgotten? Imagine the experience of a child, 14 years old. He's been going to school. His mother's sending him out there. We even have ghost students. Those that the teacher, I don't know how the teacher is keeping attendance if he's not in the room, and then she passes him. Okay? You know, some of these things are just frightening. And they're in the hands of all of the superintendents and its leadership. This is why we put them there. To appoint another one, are you appointing another duplicate? Someone to keep your system going on? Or are you going to really look for solutions? And by now we should hear what those are. Because no, the children will not forget it. Because imagine the children going to the Ray Lewis High School, and then you have those that are going to, let's say, in another school, let's say their brother's going to Howard, okay? And they're saying, come on, you can come here. Do you know what that family is going through? The child is hearing constantly, I'm so inefficient, I'm deficient, I have nothing to stand on. Even when I come out, I shouldn't come out. How do you make up 3-4 years of school? The children are going to suffer for that. And I don't think they should be bringing mandates and super classes and putting them in school for, 12 months of the year unless they're bringing remedy.
Right.
We really need to do something with that because the pain is horrifying that these are the ones that we put in charge or that our governments are putting in charge to lead my child straight down a river. There is no hope for a child that does not even have a high school education. There's no hope.
And I don't see any protests coming from the teachers. All I see on the news is them protesting going back to school in person.
And the masking.
Yeah, the
mandates.
masking and how the unions and the teachers themselves protesting, saying that they don't want to go back to the classrooms. So do they care about these kids? Like, if they see that nobody is really passing the grades in their school, why aren't they out there protesting their administration, let's say?
Because they
Like-
can't. They will lose their job anyway if they get too political about it,
Well,
if they
it is
get too
political.
vocal about it. And the real deal is our teachers, when something like this happens, the most that they do is put the teachers and instructors on administrative leave, which is a time, a period of time for them to still get paid until they have meetings and make decisions. But these processes are so long-winded.
Well, that's the union. The
Yeah,
union
the
rules.
unions, right? But the processes are so long-winded. Our children still haven't gotten remedy, and this has been going on for years.
Yeah.
So I think bringing parents into classrooms is really important. And
Cameras too.
Putting those cameras, and it's good for the children and for the teachers themselves. There are some good teachers who maybe
There
cannot
are.
speak up of what's going on in the school. They have no support.
That's right.
The parents also have to see what their children are doing, how they're behaving, and
That's right.
are they allowing the teacher to even teach?
That's right.
So
And
parents.
that's another
All
thing
of
I
those
wanted-
issues will come.
So
Yeah,
earlier,
what do you think?
earlier we talked about the majority with whatever, Mr. Will. Baltimore, a few majority stats. The school board, whatever the formal name is, Baltimore School Board is majority black.
True.
Baltimore City Council and government are majority black people.
True.
We live in, of course, a majority black city. And guess what? The majority of our students who are failing are black.
Are black.
When are we going to protest, okay? See, this is why majorities are not always the remedy, because we have a majority of what we just talked about, the government.
through.
The majority of them are failing our students. Our students, our children. We talk about children as the future. What future are we setting up for them? What future are we allowing? Because there have been no protests at Baltimore,
That's
at
right.
North Avenue
Not at
or
all.
City Hall. But guess what, parents? Our children, we're setting them up to be this pipeline to prison. They're not going to have jobs. What are they going to do? They're going to find the underground economy, talking about free market, right? They're going to find this underground economy on the streets, and then they're going to continue to feed this drug culture, the crime, the violence that we're seeing. We need to absolutely take down, recall, and when I say take down, I don't want people to think I mean violently,
That's
okay?
right.
But we need to recall our city leaders. And I'm at the point where I'm not even going to call them leaders. I'm going to try
No,
to take that
they're
word.
not.
They're not leaders.
Or they're
are-
leading us down the road.
they're leading us down the road.
Okay.
They're just people that are in charge of something, and their power and their arrogance have gone to their heads,
Yes.
such that our students, our children are the ones who are hurting. They are absolutely without excuse for what
That's
they
right.
are doing or not doing. They need to be
Accountable
sat down.
for
They need to
everything.
be sat down. We can deal with the accountability. That's a part of it. They need to be gone tomorrow.
Right,
So
I'm
let
with
me
you
ask you
because
this.
even when you were saying there's no protest, I was in a large group of people that stood in front of the Baltimore City Public School Administration building.
Right.
And they sent out, see, we don't see protests from within, we see protests from outside.
Right.
And what they did is they sent 3 representatives to come out and talk to us because they had seats where the people had been invited, but nobody came from inside. But when they did, guess who they sent out? They sent out someone that was responsible for curriculum. They sent someone out, and this was a new person from out of town. Okay, number one. There was also someone responsible for technology, which wasn't relevant. But the main person they sent out was a person in communications that's responsible for messaging. Do you get this? It's what they're going to say about it. And they did not protest or answer not one question that we gave straight out.
Like
So
the mayor,
let me-
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And so these processes are
Just-
just too long,
just like
and
the
they
mayor-
do things to keep us out.
The mayors, Dr. Santelisa's,
Yes.
Marilyn, whatever her name is, Mosby, Nick Mosby, these people
Art.
make $200,000 or more a year of our taxpayer salary. Many people in the city, their children are in public school. They can't even afford the private school tuition that would give their children at least a fighting edge. They can't even do that. They
right.
have to send their students to these public schools when these people are grifting, if you will.
That's
you
right.
know, their income, their taxes, they're making this money. And guess where they send their children? They don't
To
send
private
them
school
to
or
private
out in the
school
county.
or
Yes,
the
they
top
do.
schools in Baltimore
That's where
City.
they send them.
And they
Somewhere
are,
else.
so this is infuriating. It is so maddening. I implore every day I go on parent in Baltimore City, get off your butt. Get down to City Hall, to North Avenue, wherever you have to go. Get there, and like Brandon Scott says, we want your voice at the table. Well, bring a bullhorn.
So let me ask you this.
But
Let
did
me
you
ask
know
this.
how much money Baltimore is getting for education now?
We get-
and the new
Yes.
money is out,
Never
and we
see
haven't
it.
seen a trickle down anywhere.
No, let me ask you this.
But
So
go
let
ahead.
me ask you this,
Please.
because this has not been addressed. So we understand that the teachers have not protested. We understand that the leadership hasn't really addressed it. Are they saying by their non-addressing of this, the kids just are stupid?
Absolutely. Actions speak louder than words.
And,
So
and,
you're saying
and
that they're saying
omission
that,
of action speaks just as loudly as commission of
but
action.
what are they saying then?
We gotta stop
Are they
with that.
saying then that the children are stupid and they cannot learn and this is just what we have?
They're saying
They
they
don't
don't give
care.
a
They're
damn.
not saying either way.
They don't give a damn.
We have the
I mean,
whole.
that's
mean,
what
is
it
this-
seems like.
I mean,
that's what
is-
it
We
is.
have hashtag DeclareltACrisis Baltimore because all of the
Yeah.
murders and homicides are unaddressed. To the Baltimore City leadership, these people are numbers. They're
That's
a
right.
statistic. They're
That's
not
right.
people with families, and their families don't matter.
But let me ask you this. Would
Wait,
you not
we should
address
have
it?
declared
We
a
haven't
failure,
at-
Baltimore. It's the same thing.
But no, we haven't. So it's either one of two things. It's either there's a problem with the teachers and the administration and how everything is handed down, or we're dealing with just people who cannot
There's
learn.
the
And-
problem
but-
with everybody.
So
but-
It's a holistic issue. There's a problem with teachers. I believe that they, don't put enough effort in what they have to be
Oh,
doing.
I have to back that one
I
up.
mean, there are some teachers that do.
There's
but
some
I've
teachers
been
working
to
their butts off.
I've been to public schools, and one of the things that I noticed, the majority of my teachers did not really care. I'm sorry, I have to say it.
okay.
And I didn't go to, well, I went to school in New York City and in Fairfax County. Both places, public schools are terrible. Public
They
school
are.
teachers are not, some putting a lot of effort, but generally speaking, the whole system is messed up.
Right.
The whole system
Then-
is messed up, I agree.
Then children and their parents are responsible for the children. So parents need to be more responsible of what's going on in the schools and what their kids are doing or not doing. So a parent should not find out 4 years later
That's
that
right.
their kid has a 1.0 GPA. What happened, in the beginning of the high school or the second year
Right.
of high school. So it's a holistic issue that everybody has to come together and take responsibility. And so the issue is in a socialist system, public schools, where it's a free education, and when you get something
For free.
when you get something for free, you don't care.
Well, the
You
real
don't get quality.
listen.
Yeah.
Right.
I will say this: the thing is, I've done a lot of work in alternative schools where children are just cast out. They just don't qualify. They can't sit still. They don't pay attention. They don't come to school. They go to alternative schools. And the other group that I've worked with were children of prisoners, children of incarcerated parents. Those teachers that I have engaged with really cared, but they're overwhelmed, underpaid, and they're dealing with a lot of issues there.
Right.
They don't have the administration to give them the leadership they
Right.
need. And the problem that you're addressing is very important, guys. They don't know what to do.
Who doesn't?
The administration, they've been doing this and holding money and doing whatever they're doing so long.
Right.
They
They don't
really
know
don't.
So they're not
So
focused on
they have-
education.
they
They're
have-
focused
I
on
have a
preserving their
suggestion.
own jobs and preserving their own interests.
Exactly.
But
And
if
they
they-
don't know what to do. It's a big mess now.
But if
They
they
don't
have
know.
alternative schools, like that is something that that administration can do. You're saying it is working, and
But alternative schools
they-
is when they have behavioral issues
Right.
and deficiency
exactly.
issues.
They're working because that is something that they need to prove that it works in order to get funding.
And that's what I'm saying. But they have their, and
So
they
that's why
give
she's
numbers.
saying, that's
So
why
they get
she's
the
saying
best
they
But
have
they
the
give-
teachers, good teachers.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
give
That's right.
numbers.
They're accountable.
Yeah,
They're held accountable.
So I would say, do not fund something that doesn't work. Give the money to the parent and say,
Let the
okay,
money follow the child.
You choose,
School
what you
choice.
wanna
And
do
what
with it.
she's saying is very important, but it goes right back to what you were saying. People that are making the decisions and taking the action are not the people that are suffering through the problem.
Exactly.
Okay? And that's where it really
Right.
gets to break down.
That
Okay.
what you were saying earlier about like how what you experienced as a kid, not
Yes.
everybody can relate to, and sometimes the connection's not there for people. I think that's somewhere that the conservative movement can really take charge and like come on the ground floor and go into these inner cities, and you kind of have to
Yes.
like live their life a
They've
little
gotta
bit.
get on the
like you have
ground.
to
We
get
need to
in the
have
ground
school
and in
choice,
those I
school
agree.
choice,
School
charter
choice.
schools. They work usually
but
better.
that's somewhere that, you know, a conservative movement can come in and try to, you know, at some point the people, the residents have to take responsibility
That's true.
because the government's not going to do it for
Well,
them.
it takes that
The
whole
government
village
doesn't
now.
care.
Takes the
Yeah.
whole village. And the thing is, people need to give their voice. They need to be heard, but actions need to be taken based on that.
So let
And
me
that's
just
where we
make sure I
fail.
understand. So you all are saying that if these same set of children, the majority of them, because you always have a couple bad apples, but the majority of these children, if they were moved out of these city schools, out of this environment and put into, say, a charter school environment or one where there's more accountability, that they would thrive.
Yeah, we have evidence of that. We see that.
And most of these kids are not, quote, dumb.
No, they're not.
brilliant.
They're not. They're so-
Even gangs, they're brilliant in leadership and accountability and relationship
strategic.
and protection and safety. You can't say they're
need
dumb.
to-
No, I'm
They're
not
not.
I mean,
saying
no,
that.
I'm saying that
But
is not even a
they
factor.
need to be given a purpose.
Opportunity.
They do not see a purpose right now.
A real
where they're going.
That's right.
You know, they go to school and they see that the teachers
Don't care.
Don't really put the effort. You know, they just put maybe give them something to read or like fill out some, I don't know, worksheet, and that's about it. That's what schools look like right
And the
now.
kids don't have any hope
They do
because
not
y'all
know
done this
why
before.
They're learning this. They're not learning how to open a business, how to learn a trade that's gonna, because these kids, they understand already what's going on, how to survive.
You know
And
what? You said something
are the
that
most
just
important
struck
skills.
me beautifully. If I had more conservative leaders that would run campaigns based on these factors, I could get all the Democrats I know to vote for them.
You think
Do you
so?
understand?
We
all of my
started off
family
talking about that.
because
We
they're
started off by talking
suffering
about that.
these things.
If they would vote for a Republican.
What I'm saying to you,
Well, they
they
won't.
will vote for who
They'll vote
is
for
really
change.
helping
even
them.
if they have a Republican in front
Yes.
of their name.
Yeah.
Because I've had these conversations
Well, and here's
already.
the important thing is
I'm telling
we're
you,
not doing it
we don't
for a
have 'em.
political reason. We're doing it to help. We just happen to be conservatives. Right?
That's
Like that's
right.
the big thing. The other thing I'm trying to remember. I like forgot my thought. But
You got many of them today.
I had all these thoughts when you guys were talking, and they
I
just
just goes on.
went out. But I do really think that like for example, I think a lot of us are familiar with like Munir Bahar's project, right? And that one, for instance, he's creating a neighborhood. He's rallying up the neighborhoods of the
There are
city.
many
He's
people
rallying
doing it.
up the residents, yeah. And there are others doing it as well,
Yes.
right? To take control, because the government is not gonna work for the people. And this is what my thought was.
Thank you.
So the leadership has been blaming all of the failing schools on the pandemic.
Yes.
And that is always their excuse. Is that also why trash is never taken out? Is that also why
Is
there's
that
the
why
rat
they haven't
problem?
had
Is
education in
that-
4
right.
years?
Is that why there's no internet?
right.
Because all of a sudden with the pandemic, they realize that there's internet
I mean,
problems
like,
and people don't have
duh.
Wi-Fi. So
I mean, I'm
there's
pissed about
all
that.
these things that they're blaming on the pandemic that have been issues long before the pandemic.
That's right.
Well, it's always
And-
a boogeyman, like you
Right,
mentioned.
right.
It's always
He's a
an
boogeyman.
excuse.
Yeah.
But
Right.
it comes down to this, and then we do have to leave on this. It comes down to this. If they're saying it's not them, then it's your children. They're saying
They're
that
saying
it's your children.
They can say it all day. Sticks
Right.
and stones
I
may
mean,
break
I hope
my
people
bones,
know
but
that.
that's
The
not
thing
going to
is,
hurt
though,
me.
most
if it's not them,
It doesn't
if
hurt the
they're-
kids.
if
Most
they're saying it's your
children, most children, particularly when they're younger, they want to impress or have their adults, their caregivers, be proud of them.
They just want to be
If
acknowledged.
the standard is there, they tend to rise to it.
They do. And you'll see more of them rise when they can
Yes.
get a little bit of hope. They have heard the rhetoric. They see their parents complain and get no results. They've seen their teachers look at them and go, you again. I mean, really, we need much more love into these schools. People only operate out of two means,
The
fear or love.
Administration doesn't usually care what's going on in children's homes.
They don't.
They don't address the fact that the kids are not eating properly, not sleeping properly.
But do they have money to address all that?
Well, I put it this way.
Well,
They
But they're
spend their money
getting, the
somewhere.
government is getting
It's an
tons of money.
emotion.
They
Tons of
always
money.
get tons of money.
And Baltimore
Taxpayers
gets
will never
money
see it.
in the top 20.
Yes.
Baltimore
Taxpayer
gets
money.
money.
Baltimore is a very resource-rich area. Money goes to Baltimore. The people,
Yes.
the residents of the cities do not get that money.
Right.
Ever. They never see it.
Well, that's what the whole problem is. It goes like,
yeah. It stops
okay?
at a point.
That's right, it stops.
All right, so we have had a passionate evening tonight. So this is what it is, Poppin' Politics, every Wednesday. Please like, share, comment on this video. We will respond to your comments again next week. Be sure to check out our other shows, the 8:30 show, which is live on Thursday evenings, and we also have Gray Thoughts Matter. All this and more can be found at www.metroconservativemedia.com. All right, we are ending tonight. Again, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.
Bye.